All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure we'll have a few more people joining us shortly, but as everyone comes in, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Grant Hines, the NABJ student rep. And joining us, we also have Lauren Gilchrist. She is the incoming student rep. So I have less than a month left. And the unique thing about this election cycle is that Lauren ran unopposed, so we can kind of get the ball rolling early on transition, which is always nice. So she is joining us today. I wanted her to be here to formally introduce her as your new student rep starting in less than a month when she gets installed in Cleveland next month. And then, of course, we have the lovely Aunt Benet Wilson, who always generously gives us her time and talent to prepare us before the convention. And this is the second year that I've done this. So hopefully, Lauren will continue this in future years, and then whoever after her after that. So without further ado, take it away. Show us how we can sharpen our resumes, Aunt Benet.
All right. Thank you all. And Grant, thank you again for asking me to do this. You know how I feel about resumes, and I need you all out there working and getting those jobs because I'm retiring soon and you all need to pay my Social Security. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll get right into it. All right. Okay. Going to go ahead and present. All right. Well, I am Benet Wilson. In my day job, I am the lead writer for credit cards for Bankgate. I have been doing this webinar for years. I found out early in my career that I had a knack for doing resumes, and I have probably at this point since 2009 done more than 1,000 free resume reviews for NABJ members because I feel like, especially these days, the market is really tough. I would rather you all have these skills now than wonder why people aren't calling you back for at least an interview. So we're going to get right into it. What I will tell you is resumes are like a maze. Companies are looking for specific people, but they don't always make the process easier. So, what I'm going to do is give you a lot of information and tips. So, I never guarantee that I will get you an interview, but you will be in a much better position to possibly get an interview once I go through this presentation, and I'll also be available for questions. So, first, I want to share some cold, hard facts about resumes. First, the average journalism online job opening receives at least 150 applications and even more these days with all the layoffs and everything that's going on in the industry. Managers can take less than 10 seconds to read a resume. I have been a hiring manager. They have actually done studies on this. I can look at a resume in under 10 seconds and tell you whether I'm going to keep reading or move on to the next one. Only about 2% of the resumes that are sent in result in an interview, not a job, just an interview. 10% of job seekers have applied for 50 plus jobs and not heard back. 85% of jobs are found via networking. I know this personally to be true because the last time I actually applied for a job where I filled out an application and everything was in 1992. Most of you weren't even born then. So, networking is key. Candidates who are referred are twice as much more likely to land an interview and 4 times more likely to be hired. I work for a company where we actually get bonuses if we recommend people and they're hired. 68% of job seekers who work with a professional resume writer find a new role in under 90 days. 63% of recruiters want resumes tailored to the job that you're applying for. 77% of employers say seasoned workers should not use a single page resume, but if you are an early career or student journalist, your resume should be one page. 75% of large companies use an application tracking system, an ATS, to sort, scan, and rank resumes for keywords. So your resume is not even being seen by a human being. It is going into a machine, and if it catches keywords on your resume, you can go to the next step. But if it doesn't, you're out before you start. And 75% of qualified applicants are rejected by an ATS because the software couldn't read their resumes or they didn't have the right keywords. 75% of human resources managers have caught people lying on their resumes. And 1 in 5 recruiters are going to reject your resume before they've even finished reading it. So those are just some food for thought, some facts that are out there. So I want to talk about resume killers. As someone who is a hiring manager, I look at a lot of resumes. It's all subjective. In the end, this is your resume, and you need to do what you need to do to make it work for you. But I'm giving you tips based on 40 years. This year, I will have been in the industry for 40 years. This is based on 40 years of looking at resumes. So first, bad grammar and typos. It's terrible that I even have to put this on here, but you would be amazed at how many journalism resumes that I see with grammar and bad grammar and typos. And if I see these on a resume, it's gone. It's done, because our job is to get things right. So if I see this on your resume, it tells me in my head that you don't have attention to detail. Poor formatting. Sometimes people try to go overboard, and we will talk about that. You do not need to go all out. You need the KISS principle. Keep it simple, student. Unprofessional email address. I actually got an email, a resume with the email Foxy Lady, and that's 2 X's, foxylady69@hotmail.com. No quantifiable achievement. You've got bullet points that are a bunch of word salad. I call it word salad, but you're not saying exactly what it is that you achieved or did in any given job. People who use blocks of text instead of bullet points. Bullet points are much easier to read. If I see blocks of text, it's gone, because I'm not going to sit there and try and scan through these huge blocks of texts. Links, either your story links are behind a paywall, or you have a Google or Word doc and you don't give me access. I am not going to chase you down to get access. So for links behind paywalls, give me PDFs. Make sure if you're sending me a Google Doc or sending an employer a Google Doc, that you give them viewer access. A generic resume. People will send out resumes, and the resume looks like they could be applying for a position as a reporter in a newsroom or at McDonald's. And resumes that are longer than 2 pages. We are not going to read all those pages. I've been in the business for 40 years. My actual resume is 12 pages long. No one is going to ever see my 12-page resume. If I can get my 40-year career down to 2 to 3 pages, so can you. Okay. No cover letter. If you are requested to do a cover letter, please do one and customize it. Don't make it generic. Incorrect contact information. You would not believe how many people have misspelled their own name, messed up their email, messed up the link to their portfolio, messed up their phone numbers. Okay, so now I'm going to share 10 tips on how to make sure you have a resume that will grab attention. My number one, do not rely on spell check. You need to proofread it again and again, and you need to have someone else, a professor or somebody in the industry, to take a second look. I do resumes for a living, and I have an editor who looks at my resume, because you look at it for so long and you miss stuff. And spell check does not catch everything. These are words that I have seen on resumes. They sound the same, but they're not the same. And that resume goes away because you're using it incorrectly. The first one, your versus your. The first one is a possessive. The second one is a contraction of the word you are. There, and there. This one always gets mixed up. The first one, again, is a possessive. The second one is place. And the third one is a contraction of they are. Complement versus complement. There's the I versus the E. Principal with the PLE versus principal PAL. It's IT apostrophe S is it is, and ITS is a possessive. I'm putting this on here, public versus pubic, because this is something that I did early in my career. Spell check does not catch the difference between public and pubic. Two, and two. This is one that always gets mixed up and people use it incorrectly. Whose versus whose. Who apostrophe S is a contraction of who is. Peak versus peak. People always say, I'm giving you a sneak peek, and they spell it P-E-A-K. So number 2, I say you need to use bullet points to highlight your work duties. It is so much easier to read. Shoot, edit, and write story packages for online news site. Edited and published stories using the WordPress CMS platform. Oversaw the newsroom's Facebook fan page, growing it from 35,000 likes to 86,000 plus likes in 6 months. Handled extensive coverage of severe weather and breaking news events via live streaming. Easier to read. Number 3, do not use fluffy prose. This is the word salad that I was talking about. I'm going to show you some examples of things that I have actually seen on resumes. My intensity and focus are at inordinately high levels, and my ability to complete projects on time is unspeakable. I don't know what that means. While I am open to the initial nature of an assignment, I am decidedly less disposed that it be so oriented as to at least partially incorporate the experience enjoyed hereforto, and that it be configured as to ultimately lead to the application of more rarefied facets of financial management as the major sphere of responsibility. That's crazy. I shouldn't have to take breaths in between to read one sentence. And I have no idea what this means. My skills allow me to allocate dexterity from preceding experiences to perform a job to superiority. In addendum to facile and ardent task force will alleviate the work environment of unethical work habits. Zero clue. And this is my favorite. Ambitious journalist with strong practical technical skills with only 2 years of experience, having a sound knowledge of design, photography, video, editor, writer, social media, manager, M-A-N-G-E-R, and good person. That tells me nothing, and no one with 2 years experience has all of these skills. Number 4, you need to use action verbs to describe your work. Here are some: executed, organized, oversaw, devised, implemented, directed, improved, reorganized, produced, launched, analyzed. And in the bottom right corner, if you go to bit.ly/NABJ verbs, that will take you to a site that will give you 185 action verbs that you can use in your resume. Okay. Oversaw a team. Produced the company's first weekly podcast. Covered commercial aviation. Created and implemented revenue generating issues oriented series. Number 5, don't put your home address on your resume. And the reason why is, I tell you that people who are looking at resumes, they're subjective. If I see a resume and there's an address, let's say I do live in Baltimore, But you live in San Francisco and you're applying for a job. And if I see you're living in San Francisco, I'm thinking, oh God, if I might have to pay to move this person. Don't give them the excuse. It doesn't matter with phone numbers because people live all over the place, and nobody has a zip code, an area code in their where they live anymore, so it doesn't matter. Number 6, I need you to create a list of hard skills. Video editing with Final Cut Pro, coding HTML, visual storytelling, podcast production and editing, social media management, use of content management systems like WordPress, writing for SEO, search engine optimization, data visualization, FOIA requests. These, what I'm about to show you, these are not hard skills. These are soft skills, and they are a given for you as a journalist. You should know how to use Microsoft Office or Google Suite. You don't need to put it on your resume. Interview and research. That's what we do as journalists. Meet deadlines. Journalism. Good listener and communicator. Again, this is what we do every day. Attention to detail. Yes, because our readers rely on that. Works well under pressure. Oh, well, that's journalism. Team player. You're in a newsroom. That's a given. Strong work ethic. I would hope that you would have a strong work ethic if you're going to be working in my newsroom. Adaptable and flexible. Again, that's journalism. And finally, honest. Journalism. Number 7, I've got the KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Because with your resume, you don't want to go all crazy. Okay, I'm going to show you some bad resumes. This is bad resume number 1. We've got Ham Dugo. He's got his photo, he's got his shades on, he's a cool dude. He has a profile, he's a sales maestro with more than 10 years of experience. I don't like summaries on resumes. The point is to get a job. I want you to focus on the skills that you're bringing to my newsroom. You see his phone number, that's good. His email, thehamman@hotmail.com. No. Hobbies, I don't care about your hobbies. I care about if you have the skills to come into my newsroom and do the work that I need you to do to keep the newsroom moving. This little jumping coin thing, don't do that. He's got his education at the top. If you are still in school, you can keep your education at the top of your resume. But if you have graduated, it goes below your work experience. So he graduated, got his AS in business administration, and he was president of the Jiu-Jitsu club. Don't care about that part. Work experience. He says that he's a sales maestro. He's worked at 2 jobs. He's worked at Walmart and he's worked at Zara. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you need a little more. The skills. This little chart, I see people do this. Don't do it. If you are proficient in something, then put it down. With languages, if you are fluent or conversational, you can put it in. Otherwise, don't do it. If you're not 100%, don't do it. Okay, bad resume number 2. This is Kathleen. This is a very strange resume. First, she's got the picture, but it's a white background and she's wearing a white shirt, so her head kind of looks like it's floating. I don't put pictures on my resume, but again, it's your resume. That's what you get to choose. So she's got her name, she's got where she has a Bachelor of Science in Technology. She has her address and contact and email. She's got that objective. Don't like objective stuff. The personal background, it's illegal to do that. Don't put it on there. She's got her education on there. So she's got her college, she's got her high school, and she's got her elementary school. I don't need to see where she went to elementary school or high school. She's got skills. Okay, so she's got the core computer literate, but she doesn't say which software application she can use. She says she's a flexible team player. That's not a skill. That's a soft skill. Work ethic, dependable, responsible. None of that are hard skills. And the most important thing is she didn't tell me what work experience she has. I might want to know that. Okay, bad resume number 3. This is Dirk. It's pretty basic. He's got his home address, he's got a phone number, and he's got his email. He's got his objective. Don't like objective statements, but this one, looking for a good sales manager position, no experience, but hard worker. No, don't need to know that. Qualifications, his leadership. He founded one of the best RuneScape clans in history, and he helped train new employees at Trader Joe's. Dedication. He dedicated hours training in the League of Legends, and he spent the summer helping his grandfather build a porch. I need to see skills and I need to see jobs that Dirk has had with bullet points telling me exactly what he did in those jobs. So, number 8, please, for the love of God, do not use crazy fonts. I have seen some of the craziest fonts. They're hard to read and they're not going to get picked up by an automated tracking system. So, these are some of the fonts that I have actually seen on resumes. And some of them they've used more than one. Corsiva, Impact, a whole resume of Impact. School Bell, Pacifico, Avatar, Angry Mecha, Fabrica, Lobster, Chewy, Dancing Script, and Ansing. All of these are very hard to read. And if you're using them for your entire resume, it's just not going to go well. And don't mix fonts. Instead, you need to use sans serif fonts. They are much easier to read. Not Times Roman, that is a serif font. You want to use some Arial, Helvetica, Open Sans, Verdana. That's what I have on my resume. PT Sans, Montserrat, and Calibri. Okay. Number 9, I don't know why I have to say this, but don't lie on your resume. Don't. You're going to get caught. It's so easy to check. These are the things that I've seen people lie about. Their education. They will claim that they got a degree that they didn't get. Relevant experience. They will put all of this experience on there, and it turns out that they don't have that experience. Employment dates. Sometimes people like to fudge those dates. Job titles. I worked for a company where I was running the internship program, and at this company, the interns were paid and they jumped right in. They were doing stories just like the rest of us. And one of the interns graduated and put her internship on the resume, but did not say she was an intern. She called herself a breaking news reporter. That was not correct. Your technical skills and proficiency. Do not put on there that you know how to use Excel spreadsheet, or you know how to use WordPress, or you know how to use Final Cut Pro, and you can't do it. You're going to get caught. Past employers. There are people who lie about where they worked or what they did. So I saw a resume and it said the Washington Post, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it was really vague. Turns out that yes, he did work at the Washington Post, but he was working in the mailroom. And let me tell you how you get caught. Social media. It is amazing how many people will put stuff out on social media. I had a person that I interviewed, and had said some things. And let me tell you, employers are checking your social media, and there are companies that you can hire, that companies that employers hire now to check your social media. Okay. References. It's amazing what happens when you put down people for references, and you might not get the information that you think you're going to get. Always ask people to be a reference. Don't surprise people. Background checks. The last 4 companies I've worked at, I've had to do a 10-year background check, and they are very thorough. In-person skills assessment. There are companies that will have you do, write a story, format, something, do some editing, and they will see whether you can do what you say you can do. Okay. Your alma mater, if you're talking about your education, people check that. And your alma mater will say, well, no, Grant did not, in fact, graduate from Princeton. A simple Google or LinkedIn search. There's so much information out there. And I need to actually add AI because AI is out there too. And just an overall gut check. When you've been doing this a long time, you kind of can read things and you can read between the lines, and you're like, I'm not sure if they actually did that. That example earlier from the word salad, the person with 2 years of experience saying they could do all these things. Yeah, no. Okay. And last but not least, if you can do it, and only if you can do it, try to put a conversation grabber in your resume. My conversation grabber is I auditioned for the game show Jeopardy! It is the last thing on my resume, the very last thing that you read. There hasn't been a job interview that I've gone on where people haven't asked me about what it was like to audition for Jeopardy! And no, I did not get to go out to Los Angeles and actually be on the show, but I didn't get that far. But it was an interesting experience. Got to meet Alex Trebek, the late Alex Trebek, who was a very funny and witty man. So, um, a person I was interviewing for a reporter job, her interesting thing was after she graduated from college, she took 2 years she was a figure skater, and she skated with the Ice Capades to pay off her student loans. But she also kept up her skills. And I wanted to hire her. A lot of people wanted to hire her. I didn't get to hire her. Another person that I know who is an entertainment journalist, he takes black and white Polaroids with the people that he interviews, and he's got a really nice collection. So if you can find something, oh, another one of our interns actually tried out for the the last Olympics as a swimmer, and that's on his resume. So if you've got something like that, put it on there. You're trying to stand out. Okay. So I'm just going to throw out some resume tips. Again, sentences starting with action verbs. Send your resumes between 6 and 10 a.m. I am an early riser, and I'm usually at my desk and working during the quiet hours between 6:30 and 7. If you send your resume at that time, I'm much more likely to see it earlier than as my day goes on, because I am looking for people, but I also have a day job. I have a publication to get out. So I'm having to split my time. So make it easy. Don't wait to apply, because what happens, especially now, is when a job is posted, um, people go in and most people try to get it within the first 4 days. I'm going to look and I'm going to get some good resumes. And I'm probably after day 4, if I've got enough good resumes, I'm not going to go past that. Okay. Include a list of skills on your resume. I have seen people fold it into their bullet points, but I need to be reminded of the stuff that you do. Okay. Use analytics with any skills that you're talking about. There were examples, the social media example. If you've grown a social media site, put those numbers in there. If you had a story that went viral, if you have page views, any analytics that you can use to kind of buttress what your bullet point is saying. Avoid industry jargon. I know we use it, but don't assume. Sometimes there are people who don't understand everything, so try to avoid using that. Cliches. These are some of the cliches that we see in resumes. Words: works independently, hard worker, work well under pressure, good communicator, enthusiastic. You get the point. So don't put these cliches in your resume. Okay, so now I'm going to share a few good resumes. Okay. This first one is a student reporter. She is at UC Berkeley. I think she's already actually graduated. But this is a great resume because she's done some really good internships, and she says that she's a reporting intern. But if you look at it, you can see that she's got really strong bullet points, and she has links to everything that she does. And then at the bottom, she's got her skills. You see AP, fact checking, Google Sheets, Data Wrapper, Python, WordPress, HTML, CSS. This is an ideal student resume. Number two, this is my friend Marshall. He is no longer with us, unfortunately, but I see this as the gold standard. Marshall convinced me that having a pop of color in your resume works. You know exactly what he does. He's an experienced art director and visual journalist. On the left, he has all of his skills. These skills are amazing. You see his experience: editor-in-chief, creative director, art director. And at the bottom, if you see his education, Tennessee State, he has BS in English and speech communication, and he says in progress. So he was 112 credits. He had 112 credits and he needed 120. So he did not lie that he had the degree. He said he was in progress. And it didn't matter because looking at all of his skills and the jobs that he had, nobody is going to even notice that. They're going to be focused on the work. Okay. This is good resume number 3. This is one of my mentees, Ashley. She's in audience and growth. I also like this pop of color. You can see she's got her contact information, her education. Again, she's got really good skills. She's got her awards, and she's got her professional affiliations. And then you see her work experience. She's got the action verbs. She's got the little pops of color. It's really easy to read and very easy on the eyes. Okay. So I also wanted to share a before and after resume. Okay. This is the before. Okay, blocks and the weird color, but he's got a lot of information in here. He's got his education, he has his coursework. I wouldn't put coursework in because you've graduated, so don't, I don't care what courses you took in college. I need to know what skills that you have that you're bringing to the table that are going to help me in my newsroom. He's got his list of skills, which is good. I don't care about volunteers and hobbies unless it's journalism related. If you need to belong to at least 2 professional organizations. I belong to just about all of them, but any volunteering that you do with professional organizations, it looks good on a resume. So this is the before. This is what he did after. I like this. I go back on photos. I think the photo works here. I won't do it on my resume, but it's yours. I like the blue at the top and the bottom. Education reporter, data analyst. He's got a professional summary. He's got his education. Again, the hobbies, not enamored with it. His work experience, skills and projects. And then he even has a quote from somebody who knows his work. And actually, I don't mind that. Okay. So now I am going to stop sharing, and I'm going to do a live resume edit. I'm only going to do one. I'm going to pull up one here. All right, so let me share my screen again. Okay. I want to thank Agnes for agreeing to do this. Because she's doing this, I am going to completely revamp her resume. So the first thing I do is, let me just move this out of the way because I can't see. Okay, I go to review and I am going to track my changes. So I'm going to do for me. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is Agnes has her resume in Times Roman. That is a serif font. We're going to turn this into a sans serif font. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to do Verdana because that's the one that I like. Already you can see that it's easier to read. So education, okay? Rutgers University School of Arts and Sciences, Newark, New Jersey. I want you to spell out Bachelor of Arts, and Agnes did not put a period here, so I need that spelled out. Major in journalism, minor in social justice. And I don't need to see a GPA. If you're an accountant, GPAs count. If you're a journalist, it does not. She says she's graduating in May 26th, 2026. I would say expected May 2026. She's got her awards on there. I don't really need to see that. It's nice. You can put them on there, but once you've graduated, they don't need to be on there. I don't need to know the global business experience and I don't need to know the coursework. I need to know what you're doing if you're working in an internship or you're working with your school campus media, television station, website, magazine, whatever it is. That's what I need to see. I like that Agnes has her LinkedIn and you can click right on it, phone number, and a nice email address. Okay, so instead of, I would switch professional experience above leadership experience. So her professional experience, we've got that. She's got bullet points. But what I'm going to do is this, because again, it is easier to read. And then looking at her leadership experience, I like that she is a student chapter president. That works for me because it shows that she's into her journalism and she's into showing leadership at the begin, but even before her career starts, and that does mean something on resumes. Employers like to see that you are active in journalism in journalism organizations. This accelerator capstone challenge, I like this too. Um, so let me scroll on down. Okay. Um, affiliations and skills. These need to be two separate things. So I need a skill line, which is what she's done here. And I love these. These are actual hard skills. And then professional affiliations, spell out National Association of Black Journalists. I don't know if I would put honors living. I'm looking at professional. So I belong to NABJ, NAHJ, AAJA, NGJLA, ONA, SPJ. I do a lot of work for different organizations. You don't have to belong to all of them, but you need to belong to at least two. And pro tip for the students, do it now while you're still students because it's cheaper. So that is Agnes's resume. So now I'm going to go back and share the, go back to the presentation. Give me a quick second. Let me just pull this up. Sorry, I'm trying to find my my screen. Meanwhile, if you've got questions, please go ahead and start putting them in the chat because I will be answering questions at the end. And I'm trying to find it. And okay, here we go. Let me just share my screen again. Back to Zoom. Okay. Share the screen. All right. All right. So we shared the resumes. So now we're going to talk about rejections, reasons why your resume is rejected. Number one, impersonal application. No thank you note. If you're going, if you're interviewed, always send a thank you note. If it's an email, if you can mail it, that's even better. Lack of custom resume, too generic, not listing your skills, copying wording excessively from the job description. You don't ever want to copy exactly, you just want to get those keywords. Missing exact dates of employment. And now this is something new. I went to IRE last month and did a whole session on LinkedIn. So I thought that I would share some of my slides from that presentation because LinkedIn has become very important. There are a lot of employers who only list their jobs on LinkedIn. So your profile needs to be ready now. So I'm going to share my profile. So I see a lot of LinkedIn profiles with this bar, and it's just that generic LinkedIn thing. You need to have a custom background. If you can get an action shot of you at work, I work for Bankrate. So that is my background. You need a professional headshot. I got this headshot taken last year at the Online News Association had headshot photo booth. I'm sure they'll have one at NABJ. If you can't do it, but do it before NABJ, Google the words shoot professional headshot with iPhone. You can absolutely do this. I have my name. I have my title. I am a credit cards and financial journalist. I am also an educator of future journalism leaders. I work at Bankrate. My alma mater is American University, and I have a link to my personal website. And if you notice, I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I have 315,000 followers, and and 500 plus connections. And I'll tell you how I did it. Okay. First, I have all my work experience. So this, I'm not going to do all of them, but this is what I do. Have this up to date. You can just cut and paste from your resume. I also have my skills listed. These are some of them. I have 31 skills with endorsements. That means people know that you can do these skills and they say, Bené can do AP style. Okay. I also have recommendations. These are some of my recommendations from people in the industry. Every Friday, I do a column in LinkedIn, Your Weekend Reads. What I do is I pick the top 5 stories from my colleagues in Bankrate. Some of them are mine, sometimes they're not, but I do summaries of 5 of our top stories and I talk about them. I relate to them, and people really respond to that. This is activity. These are stories that I either wrote or that I was quoted in. Okay. I reply to people. Ariana and I work together at the Point Sky. AI has been a big thing. She's a freelancer now, and she was working freelancing for a company, and she wrote a story, and the company put it through an AI detector, and they said that it was AI, but it wasn't. It was specialized, but it wasn't AI. And I had that happen to me at work. I wrote a story that was so uniquely me. My boss knew it was me, but when we put it through the AI detector, my story was 90% AI generation, but it wasn't. It was my personal credit start story, and I can't make that up. It's my own story. So I respond to industry thing going on in the, industry journalism type things. I respond to things that my colleagues write. So Alex is one of our data reporters, and there is a thing on TikTok called FinTalk, where people are talking about financial issues. And the big thing now is doing no buy months. But because I'm old, I heard about no buy months in February of 2008. Natalie McNeil, who was then a journalist at Miami Herald, she created the name and trademarked the name Frugalista, and she did the first no buy month I ever saw. And then she parlayed that into a book, The Frugalista Files. So I'm showing off the work of my employer of my co-workers, but I'm also bringing my own perspective. What's old is new again, and what's new is old. It's important to be active and engaged. You don't have to do a lot. You can congratulate people on their job. You can do a column. You don't even have to do a column. You can just do a post. You can follow people. You can comment and like. You can do endorsements and ask for recommendations and give recommendations and write regular content because it's going to give you professional credibility. So we are at the end. This is my contact information. I'm going to leave it up on the screen. But if you've got any questions, now is the time to ask.
All right. Thank you, Aunt Benet.
Mhm.
I'm going to read the questions in the chat first. And then if anyone else has questions they want to read out loud,
Or you can
they,
come off mute too.
yeah, you can do that too. Um, so Deidre Montague says, should your education go on the bottom? She just recently graduated in January, this past January.
Yes, because you're done with school now. If you don't have a job yet, then you can keep it at the top. But technically, once you graduate, got that degree in your hand, the education goes below your experience.
Awesome. Any more people have questions they want to just say out loud, come off mute and say out loud?
Hello?
Hi, Agnes. Thank
Hi,
you
Miss
again
Wilson.
for volunteering your resume. I really
Of
appreciate it.
course. Thank you for editing my resume. I have a question. So
Yes,
I visited one of the can you hear me okay?
yes, you're good.
Okay.
Loud and
So
clear.
I visited one of the career services at my school for my resume. And one of the reasons why I actually put I was told by the director when I had my meeting with her to actually put my global experience course at the top. And so that's why I did it, because initially I had it at the bottom, but I was kind of like, and it was interesting to see your perspective on it. Like, you didn't need to see that as a journalism major.
Agnes, I love this question because I went to American University and I graduated from the School of Communication with a degree in broadcast journalism. Every university has a career center, but American University had a career center just for the School of Communication. So we had people in there who knew the industry, who knew the business. Now, when you're at a university and you're just going to the general career center, they're generalists. They can give you general advice, but you're not going to get the advice that you need to have a good journalism resume. So that's why it's important to have somebody else that's in the industry, who knows the industry, take a look at it. I mean, you can still go to the Career Center for general stuff, but when you get into the nitty gritty on the things you're doing in journalism, you really need to have somebody who understands journalism and knows, the words that we use and how our resumes are supposed to look.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I have a question about mine. I have things that I did from college still on my resume. I am now 2 years out of undergrad and 1 year out of grad school. But I did a full length interview. It was like 40 minutes. And then like we did an election night special, like a 3 hour live broadcast. So I've done stuff that's very significant and relevant to the industry. How long is too long to keep it on there from college?
The next job you get, it's time to let it go. You should have, when if you're in your first job, then no, you want to keep the stuff in there because you've done some good work and it should be seen. But once you've been in your job for a few years and you're moving on to the next one, you can start dropping college stuff off and getting to the point where it'll eventually fall off. I had somebody that I was speaking to earlier today, and she graduated from college in 2009 and still had college stuff on her resume. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
no, girl, no, no.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. Come on, y'all. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Hi, Ms. Wilson. I have another question.
Please go right ahead.
Um, okay. I think this is also part of what you said before about like the career services at our schools not knowing exactly what may cater to a journalism resume. Uh, is it necessarily um, okay, is it very necessary to use the font sans serif? Because I was always told Times New Roman or Arial and anything else, it's going to be rejected by ATS.
Nope. You can use Times Roman, but it is so much, sans serif is so much easier to read. And it gets picked up better by ATSs too. I don't know if you saw when I kind of switched the font, but as a hiring manager who I've seen thousands of resumes, and I'm telling you, it is just so much easier to read. The sans serif font is just cleaner.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any questions? Okay.
Are we able to send you our resume for you to take a look at?
I dropped my Calendly link in the chat. You go ahead and make an appointment. I'm going to be really honest. The convention is coming up quickly and I only have a certain number of slots. I will put my email in here too. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get to it, but I will do my level best. All right. I just make sure that I spelled my own name right. Okay, so that's my email. If you put NABJ resume webinar in the subject line, then I'm much more likely to catch it, and I'll see what I can do. I need y'all to be prepared because it's
Yes, this is what this is for, to get your stuff sharp before convention in a couple weeks. We do have one more in the chat.
Sure.
It's Rowan Mumford, and they say to keep their resume at one page, how do you know which experience to cut and which to keep?
Well, only you know that, Rowan. You're welcome to send it to me. But I would, if you're still in school, I would focus on your internships, or if you work for campus media, if you write for the online website, or you do like a TV broadcast, anything like that. If you are working while you're in school, let's say you're working retail. I worked retail. I worked at the front desk of my dorm, and I worked at the law school. So I had that experience on there because it wasn't necessarily journalism related, but it showed that I was a hard worker. You're welcome. Hey, Marquita.
Hi.
One of
I
my
have
mentees.
I just stuck in here just because I wanted to watch you work. But I have a niece and she couldn't quite make it, so I'm standing in for her. I know she has work experience in her campus's dining hall. That's her first real job. It's her first year of college. And so she was wondering how to finesse that because her major is communications.
It's a job. So I wrote for the student newspaper. So I had myself down. I was actually, I wrote for the student newspaper, and I was editor in chief of the Black student newspaper. I also worked at the campus television station. I was a producer. I produced news, and I also produced game shows and sporting events. I worked at the radio station. I ran the boards. I was a disc jockey, and I also read the news. So treat those campus activities like a job. Have the bullet points, wrote X number of stories a week, um, produced a weekly student newscast, whatever it was, whatever the campus media is. And then just put intern and have at least 2 to 3 bullet points for what you did in your internship.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, 5 minutes. Last chance, last call.
While you all are thinking, I will be at the convention. I'm actually running the innovation bubble this year. We do kind of the cutting edge new digital tools. We got a lot of good sessions on AI. And if you see me around, please come up and introduce yourself. I love meeting students. And you never know when you might get like a free meal or something from your Aunt Benet. So do not be shy. And we're going to talk about this next week when I talk about convention career prep, but this is such a great opportunity for you to build your network. You're going to have the best of the best in Black journalism there. And we love student journalists and we love first-time attendees. Do not hesitate to go up to someone that you admire and say hello. They're expecting it.
Yeah, absolutely. But like Ampane said, we'll talk more about that next week. You never know what can come out of just one interaction. I mean, there are a lot of connections I've made just by cold emailing somebody or cold going up to them at a convention or another networking event. So keep that in mind as you get ready for our session next week. And I hope you can join us. It'll be not same place because it's a different link, which you can find in the flyer, but same time, a week from today. And we will be going over just how to conduct yourself at the convention. It'll be good, especially if it's your first convention.
Yes.
Because a lot of people get nervous or they kind of feel like there's a format that you should fit into, but you're really just being yourself. But we'll give you tips and tricks on how to navigate networking with people and reaching out to employers. So hope you can join us next week. And look at that, we started on time and ended on time.
Thank you all so
Good to
much
meet
for joining me, and I hope you found it helpful. And I will see you all in Cleveland.
All righty, thank you. See ya.